I wanna be rich. Fuck all this bullshit. I'm tryna get rich. Take care of my family. I'm too legit to be on this poor shit. I need to get rich to show my greatness. I wanna be rich. Fuck all this bullshit. I'm tryna get rich. Take care of my family. I'm too legit to be on this poor shit. I need to get rich to show my greatness. I wanna be rich, I'm too legit. I'm fully equipped to get that bitch. I'm with the shits, I'm dedicated. I grind so hard to get my chips. I'm like LeBron, I want 4 rings. When you're on my team, it's guaranteed. I work so hard to be a king. I got no crown, I got no ring. I want to change the fucking game so that my kid don't live in vain. Erase the pain, let me explain. Pay off my debts, buy me a plane. Secure a house in East LA. Going on tour from place to place. Torching leeches about my face. Never forget to say my grace. As long as I stay in place, I am a king in my own way. I'm grinding now to take that cake. I wanna be rich to change the game. I wanna be rich to live with fame. I will be a legend just one day. I wrote this song to rest my case. I wanna be a god like Kanye. I wanna be rich. Fuck all this bullshit. I'm tryna get rich. Take care of my family. I'm too legit to be on this poor shit. I need to get rich to show my greatness. I wanna be rich. Fuck all this bullshit. I'm tryna get rich. Take care of my family. I'm too legit to be on this poor shit. I need to get rich to show my greatness. While I'm fighting to achieve my fucking goals, I'm so obsessed with the quest that it is so absurd. I hope I don't end up in the back of a hearse. I'm focused on my time that I had left on earth. I hope my mama never had to put me in the dirt. I'm contemplating getting a couple bitches, have them in the fucking kitchen and they cooking up that work. You think I'm tripping, but I am so disturbed. I'm fucking twisted, I'm so sadistic, but I'm a mystic. Just in case you missed it, pay attention, shut up and listen. I believe in God's high and mighty godly existence. Ayo, 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 ayo. Tryna get my money right, just listen to my songs. I'm gonna be a movie star on your radio. Ayo, 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 ayo. I'm tryna get my shot, I'm aiming for the stars. Sleeping on me now, I won't know just who you are. Sleeping on me is a really foolish thing. I'm hunted by all these dreams. That's something I must achieve. I'm steady grinding. I'm trying to be the man that I dream. I wanna be crowned a king, but I'm stuck in reality. Ayo, ayo, ayo. I want you to know that I am going to blow. Ayo, 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 ayo. Tryna get my money right, just listen to my songs. I'm gonna be a movie star on your radio. Ayo, 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 ayo. I'm tryna get my shot, I'm aiming for the stars. Sleeping on me now, I won't know just who you are.
This is Eric Lloyd in the building. This isn't some kind of, fun show that I'm going to be doing today. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. Okay? It's the story of Kendrick Johnson. A young boy in Valdosta, Georgia, who was found dead in a gym mat. This story, I was the same age when he was found dead. I've gotten details from the stories that not only that I've seen from over the years, but then also with the help of the Finding the Kendrick Johnson story, which is crazy to me because I never heard of it. I never knew that there was a documentary coming out about the situation. Never knew it. It was quiet. The reason why I'm making this video is to spread awareness. It's not to degrade anybody's names. It's not to come after anybody. I want the truth to come out. I want people talking about the truth. I want this case to be solved. This was not an accident. This was not something that was accidental. So we're here to cover what actually happened to Kendrick Johnson. Before we do that, let's go into Kendrick Johnson himself. On January 11th, 2013, the body of Kendrick Johnson, who was born on October 10th, 1995, and of course was killed January 10th, 2013, was discovered inside a vertical rolled up mat in the gymnasium of Lowndes High School. I'm probably saying that wrong. In Valdosta, Georgia, United States. He was a student. After a primary investigation, and an autopsy concluded that Johnson's death was accidental. His family had a private pathologist conduct a second autopsy, which concluded that he died from blunt force trauma. Now, we would not have this situation if these parents didn't know their kid. Which raised questions, which we're all going to cover. Look at this young boy. He reminds me of a homie that I was with. Chad. My partner looks just like this guy. It's another reason why it touches my soul, this case. On October 31st, 2013, the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Georgia announced that his office would open a formal review on Johnson's death. On June 20th, 2016, the Department of Justice announced that it would not be filing any criminal charges related to Johnson's death. As far as the litigation, Johnson's family filed a $10 million civil lawsuit against 38 individuals, stating that his death was a murder and that the respondents were participants in a conspiracy to cover up the homicide, which they claimed involved two sons of an FBI agent. The lawsuit was subsequently withdrawn. Georgia Judge Richard Porter ordered that the Johnsons and their attorney pay more than $290,000 in legal fees to the defendants, accusing them of fabricating evidence to support their claims. So not only do you kill their child, but then you charge them $292,000. How does that make sense? Because they're fighting for justice for their child. Well, let's see what these are. Let's break down what is going on here and see if they are claiming that is a conspiracy theory, when they're simply trying to fight for justice for their child. Let me tell you this. I talked to my mom because I remember seeing this on the news for the first time. Seeing on the news that a kid in Georgia was killed. And I was in my mom's room. I never forget it. Sitting on the floor or sitting on her bench. I'll never forget it. Seeing this story come across. And I'm like, damn, that don't make sense. Like, that makes, how the hell did he, whoa, that seems a little fishy. I'm going to be looking after this story because that seems a bit fishy. Years go on, more details come out. So let's break these details down while we're at it. Okay? So the medical examiner is questionable once they did an autopsy on him. So Mitch Creedle, I'm probably butchering these names, so I'm sorry for that. Evidence that there was evidence that there was missing body parts. Okay, Mitch Creedle, a 23-year-old homicide detective who investigated Johnson's death, government agencies recused themselves because the people in question was that the father was a decorated FBI agent. So several judges recused themselves, and Mitch Creedle found that, questionable. So on the day of the murder, because I'm going to call this a murder. This is not an accident. I don't give a damn what the court says. Also, let me just go ahead and put this out there. Viewers' discretion is advised, okay? I have a particular way of articulating myself when I'm on that specific platform, okay? So I'm not going to sit up here all uptight the whole goddamn time. I'm going to let some shit fly. And I hope I'm not disrespecting the parents, because I will be sending this to the mother so that she gets this live stream so that people know that this shit needs to be out here. And maybe I'm discrediting myself by speaking in a specific way, but this is how I run my platform. So if you don't like vulgar language when I'm expressing certain things, then you might want to get out of here now, because this story needs somebody screaming from the rooftops. You got a few people on YouTube covering it, but nobody going in depth. Oh, it's just a strange, scary mystery. I'm seeing videos describing it like it's some horror fucking story. This is a real life story that has still not been handled. All of this evidence that are being put forth and nothing is happening. Let's continue. Sorry. On the day of the murder, the days went on, and the family got no word of Kendrick. The mother calls the sister to see if Kendrick was with her or at an after-school program or at a basketball game, which in most cases he would contact his sister if he took part in those activities. The sister said no. Then the mom asked if the dad had heard from Kendrick, calling him. The dad recalled speaking to Kendrick earlier that day, but as far as after, he ain't heard from him. Once again, the dad said no. So at this point, she called the police. The sheriff came to the house and mentioned that he's probably up somewhere with some fast-tailed girl. And the mom checked his ass. The nigga said, no, my kids know better than to be out past 10. Something is wrong. The sheriff said he would look around the school. Once 12 came around, both parents knew that he was dead. The next day, the mom went to the school. Now, what's crazy about this is that when she went to the school, she noticed people acting weird, people walking in and out of the gym, and found out that her son was dead. The sister wasn't even allowed in the gym. Class students switching classes, as this is all happening at the same time. So she goes to this damn school, then notice people acting weird coming in and out of the damn gym. The sister who attends the school is there trying to get in the gym. They won't even let her in while all of these people are walking in and out. At the same time, this is class change. So all of the students are switching in and out of class, like seeing all of this. So the mom is just going to hell off. Going off. Because she's like, hey, is this my son? Y'all niggas need to let me see my son. Where the fuck is I need to see if this is my son. This nigga ain't came home, and I need to know where he is. And y'all acting funny in the gym, so I need to figure out what the hell's going on. A school resource officer walks up and says to the mom, hey, why the hell are you screaming when we don't even know if that is KJ? She asks, has anyone else reported their child dead? Of course the officer said no. And then the mom asks, does that child in there have dreads? Of course the officer said yes. She said, then you know that's my child. Why you trying to check me, motherfucker? If this was your kids, your ass would be in that damn gym, regardless of whoever the hell is stopping you. They never let them inside the gym. The father said, if I was there, I would have forced my way in that damn gym. I would have seen my damn son. I would have been able to identify him at that specific point. And a nigga come in there, he gonna tear shit down. And the black mama ain't fucking around. She tore shit up anyway. Then they gonna send that goofy ass resource officer over there to try to talk to her ass, and she make this nigga look like a goddamn fool, knowing that was her child. So they tried to identify him with his shoe. They showed a picture to the sister and tried to identify him with his shoe. Oh, no, not going in and seeing him, but just showing a picture of his shoe. So the next day, the sheriff said they don't see any foul play. What? Not any foul play? The next day, which the family thought that was too damn quick for him to come to that conclusion. Sheriffs also claimed that there was no trauma to the body. And the only way to determine the cause of death was by an autopsy. The police didn't even call the coroner to the scene, to the school, only until 5 hours after the detective had arrived. And it's a Georgia state law that requires the coroner to be called as soon as a body is found. That coroner was Bill Watson. And Bill Watson expressed, in his opinion, that the scene was compromised, that the body had been moved. And if you know anything about scenes and bodies, you don't touch the body. You take pictures, you do all of that. You let the person who is supposed to check out the scene monitor all of that. The person has to deal with the body. So already the scene was compromised. The mother stated, the coroner saying, if y'all unrolled him, why re-roll him into the damn gym mat? If you didn't already compromise the scene by unrolling this kid, why the hell would you re-roll him into there? That doesn't sound right. The mother expressed they repositioned a body for fucking photographs. Now, I'm not big onto showing this kid's body. I'm not into any of that. But I want to show the least graphic parts of his body. Now look at this. This kid is wrapped up into this. I suppose they rewrapped him. Because in some pictures, it's wrapped one way, and another picture is wrapped a different way. Now, if he supposedly, which we're going to go down, if he supposedly jumped in there to get his shoes, why the hell is his shoes sitting right by his legs? And if he had his shoes on, they wouldn't just come off like that. Tell me that don't sound fishy. Tell me that that picture alone doesn't look fishy. Look how it's wrapped here. That looks a lot different than this. I ain't even got to the nitty gritty yet. So this is the proof that it was rolled and re-rolled. Still, his legs is twisted up in there. So, Kendrick's body was found at 10:30 a.m. on January 11th, 2013. Went missing the day before at 1:20 p.m. January 10th, 2013. Now, this might be a little hard to see, but we're just looking at the diagrams. So apparently, I'll read it off to you guys just to make sure we are all together here. If you're not able to read it on your screen, hold up. I probably don't even have that damn picture on my motherfucking phone. Okay, I do not have that picture on my phone. So, we're going to have to figure it out here. Okay, so it says that this diagram shows how Lowndes, I don't know what the hell the damn school name, County Sheriff investigators believe Kendrick Johnson, 17 years old, Jesus Christ, dead on January 10th, 2013 in an old gym at the high school in Valdosta. Getting into the mat, according to Lieutenant Stride Jones, Johnson was likely sitting atop the collection of mats when one of the shoes dropped into the center of the mat. Students at the school often sit atop those. And police and students said, okay, so students mostly sit on top of those, as police and students say. Johnson's friend told investigators they shared the sneakers and would store them under the mats for each other to retrieve. Lieutenant Jones believed Johnson may have been running late for class and decided against removing the mats to get to the one where his shoe was located. So I guess instead of removing the mats because he was out of time, he decided to climb on top. How he got stuck, Lieutenant Jones said Johnson, presumably, I think that's what that says, reached down into, I need glasses too, by the way, guy. I got glasses on, but my shit needs to be stronger. Reached down into the center of the road mat with one arm outstretched, which makes no damn sense. One arm outstretched, unable to reach the shoe. He continued to burrow his way into the mat center, where, according to Jones, he was unable to free himself and suffocated. The official cause of death is positional fixation. The athletic shoe that Johnson shared with another student was in the road mat. I really didn't mean to read all that bullshit, but that's what it was. It was grade A bullshit. So, here's what y'all trying to tell me. You trying to tell me a guy that's what, 5'10", his body diagram into the 6-foot road mat, went down there and got stuck. Now, mind you, if you get stuck, you would scream. especially a circle like that, that would make a lot of noise. Help, help. And according to the students, they would say they would, in order to get those shoes, they would just knock over the mats. So let's continue on. Kendrick, 5'10", gym mat, 6 foot, claimed he grabbed a shoe, got stuck. A pool of blood was found under KJ's body, but the shoe that he supposedly was going after didn't have any blood on it. There was a pool of blood around and under it, but no blood on the shoe. Which leads me to believe why the police took 5 hours to call. It was them who first arrived on the scene. It was them. So the killer must have ran to his FBI daddy, told him, FBI daddy got on it immediately. They knew what happened, and we will cover all of that. Just crazy. Crazy. We also will cover that the FBI admitted the shoe was planted. Admitted it to the parents. We'll cover that. But here's some more interesting information. This shoe with blood on it, they found shoes with blood on it, and it wasn't KJ's blood. That's what they said. They said they tested it, even though they left that behind, so they didn't test it in the gym. What about these blood marks on the wall? They didn't test it, but claimed they did, and claimed it was not KJ's blood. So then they asked, well, who was it? Which, of course, they didn't give that information. Who blood was it? If it wasn't KJ's, can you tell me who it was? Oh, it wasn't in the database. Oh, okay. Okay. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, this is the only other part that I will show of his body. There is a video that will show a picture. I think that was of his second autopsy, when they found all of his organs out of his body, which we'll cover as well. But look at this. These are KJ's fingers. And usually if you get into a fight or a scuffle with somebody, their nails tend to get in your skin. Your nails tend to get in their skin. And you make these little marks. If you've ever gotten into a fight, you've had these marks. Those are nail marks. So why the hell would he have fresh nail marks? Look at that under his nails. The blood under his nails. Look at that. Fresh nail marks, because those are fresh, into his skin. That's an indication that he had a physical fight. Also, there was bruising on his face. We'll cover all of that information because I'm getting beyond the points. The students wrote, as I said before, the students wrote that they would throw shoes on the mats and then they would tip the mats over to retrieve their shoes. Investigator Mitch Creedle questioned how many kids died climbing in. If this is something that they did regularly, how many kids have died from this? also questioned why a closed-circuit camera system would skip, all conveniently while KJ was walking by. He also noticed the time discrepancies when an expert expressed that film was doctrine. It's sad. The father demanded to see the body. He had enough. He wanted to see his son's body. So they called him down. They pulled his body out of this sheet or out of this drawer. And usually it's supposed to be cold. But his body in that air was extremely hot. Warm, he noticed. A whoosh of warm air came out of his body. Or out of the drawer when they pulled it. He noticed his face was beaten up and swollen. Similar to Emmett Till. KJ death was just like another example of our black babies getting killed in America with no consequences. If you know anything about Emmett Till, young boy from Chicago, that story touched me too. Face beat to hell. Unrecognizable. Because some stories say he whistled at a white woman. Some stories say he attempted to rape a white woman. Some stories say he slapped a woman on the ass. And this man, the husband, and his friends went down and beat the hell out of that child. And got off with no consequences. So after seeing the body, knowing that they're trying to play this as, accidental, the parents go down to the courthouse. The family went to the courthouse and blocked the doors of the courthouse. The police was being aggressive with the family and ended up arresting the parents, which is what they wanted to get more publicity on the case. Of course they did. Of course they did. Valdosta has a history of racism. Just like the story Mary Turner. This is where things get real dark, guys. Her husband was lynched. So, as a result, she spoke out about the issue. So, an angry white mob stormed after her, found her. She was pregnant at the time, cut her unborn baby out of her stomach, and stomped on the unborn baby's head. Then proceeded to lynch Mary Turner. Right in Valdosta, Georgia. Which is on the edge to the Florida Panhandle, where Confederate flags are currently raised high. Valdosta was also a big spot for trading of goods and slaves. The reason Kendrick Johnson has not had served justice is because of systemic racism. Because if the roles were switched, and this FBI agent's son was the one that was in that gym mat And Kendrick Johnson, the one that supposedly killed him, Kendrick Johnson would have been in jail the next day and would still be in jail till this day. And all of you watching know I'm right. All of you watch, just because of the color of this kid's skin, you would allow this to happen. We just went over details that is fishy as hell. And let's go even further. So, the parents decided to hire a private autopsy expert, Bill Anderson. And he decided to do an autopsy on him. So they got his body. They looked at it and claimed that his lungs were not affected, were not damaged in any way. Fluid in the lungs was not found. The lungs didn't weigh more than normally, which would be the case if you died from asphyxiation or suffocation. Bill Anderson did not come to the same conclusion that the first autopsy reported. Because of that, they didn't have any information, so they performed a second autopsy. When they performed the second autopsy, opened the body, and the organs were not there, and found newspaper and placement of the organs. Every organ from the top of his head to his pelvic bone were gone. Bill Anderson still had the body and looked for injuries. Noticed blunt force trauma to the neck, and in the specific part of his neck, with enough force, could kill him instantly. If you were hit in the specific part of the neck that Kendrick Johnson's body had the blunt force trauma, you could be killed instantly. A friend of KJ's reports that KJ was getting into a fight with a kid named Brian. On the bus. Kind of like he was bullying KJ, which forced KJ to fight him on the school bus. I guess he grabbed his hair and was pinning his hair down. And then when KJ got his hair together, pulling it from his face, he then was forced to fight Brian. KJ had seemed to got the best of him, according to the friend, and Brian didn't like that too much. So the police made KJ ride in a police car and let Brian sit with his FBI daddy and watch the game. And he was the one who bullied KJ and caused that fight. KJ ain't no punk. He gonna stand up for himself. KJ also noticed Brandon, Brian's brother, staring at him. Also hearing around the school that it wasn't over with. I don't have a picture of Brandon Bell, which I probably should have. But this is Brian Bell. The kid who, in a sense, would bully KJ. Brian Bell himself said that they were good friends. There's also some information about Brian Bell, a girlfriend of his, and KJ which created this kind of tension. But we'll cover that a little later. Let's talk about this nigga's FBI motherfucking punk ass daddy, Rick Bell. An FBI agent came up to the school, walked up to KJ at the school, and told him that the fight on the bus was unfair. Which is crazy because 101 means 101, so I don't know how the hell that ain't fair. And that he should come to their house and refight Brian. What kind of ignorant... Bro, you are an FBI agent, bro. What you doing? Having your goddamn child refight a kid? What kind of macho man bullshit is this? And I did research on you niggas. Everybody, all these niggas, all the fathers are macho man, goddamn Randy Savage, Vince McMahon looking niggas. KJ simply just walked away. Look at this macho man. Randy Savage, macho man looking ass. Goldberg looking ass back. What the? Come on, man. You out here look like you're on steroids. And later we're going to cover steroids too. This off this man's Facebook page. Can't add him, no. Can't add Mr. Rick Bell. And Mr. Rick Bell, I'm not coming after you, so don't try to come after me. I ain't got shit to me. I ain't got shit to my motherfucking name, nigga. I'm just a regular ass, raggedy ass nigga on the goddamn YouTube exposing this story, which has already been exposed by the documentary. So what I'm just reposting it, which explains why none of your kids can be found on social media. Smart move to do. And why your page isn't addable. The brothers couldn't get interviewed. They lawyered up. Anytime investigators had a witness, they reported that they met Rick Bell before and would feel threatened. After that point, his home was raided by U.S. Marshal Service in order for a judge to sign several search warrants like that. In order for them to sign those search warrants, they needed evidence to do so. DOJ representatives said that they didn't have enough evidence to prove that Kendrick was murdered. They had a meeting with the parents, DOJ, and also admitted that the shoe was planted. And if you don't know what shoe I'm talking about, let me make sure I find it for you guys. This shoe right here. They admitted that this shoe was planted. But still couldn't find that this was a murder. Now let me get Mr. Steroid Rick Bell ass off of here. Goldberg looking ass. Let's get his ass up out of here. DOJ also expressed they knew something happened. They just don't know who did it. I suppose I was off the record? Yeah, yes, but you knew who did it. Oh, I'm sorry. You knew something happened here, that the shoe was planted, that the shit seems fishy. You admit this to the parents, but yeah, you don't know who did it. And after that, 7 judges recused themselves. Now, why would 7 judges recuse themselves from this situation? Only if a political person would only do that if the shit is a sticky, icky situation and they do not want to put their name in that hat. They recuse themselves from this specific situation. I will not be over or have anything to do with the situation as far as on the legal standpoint. I could be implicated in the matter. It doesn't mean that, but in most cases, that's why they do it. To separate themselves from that. This is KJ's father. After he posts this photo on the internet, it gets more attention. They reopened the case. But once again, I'm going to cover... I'm sorry. This photo got recognition expressing him in a map. How can you die from that? Is what he was saying. And this young man who reminds me so much of my boy, my homie, that me and him ain't talked in a while. I miss you, dog. I love you, dog. We need to chop it up, too. But he reminds me so much of my homie. And this kid is just like any one of our black kids that we went to school with. To lose his life. So let me finish over my notes. This independent film crew retrieved a video from the FBI, one that wasn't tampered with, and seen that in one frame. Let me make sure I show this real quick. I chopped up my show a bit differently, but this show was so graphic to me. It touched me so dearly. I watched this to get more information about the Kendrick Johnson situation that the news didn't cover, and it was from the parents' point of view. It was hearing the parents. Instead of hearing them in specific small clips that was on the news, you get to hear the parents express things. This is how I'm able to give certain details about this Kendrick Johnson story. Parents still fighting. Get the case reopened. Until this crinkly bastard come into the story and fuck everything up. And comes to the conclusion an investigation have reopened the case just in early 2022. In early 22, the sheriff ruled that Kendrick's death was on accident. Sheriff office said he crawled into the gym mat and got stuck upside down and died. And that is what they came to the conclusion of. Even after an independent film, Finding KJ, gave evidence that he was in fact murdered. This is the father speaking out after the ruling was closed. That it was an accident. When we all know that we all just covered that it wasn't.
Also breaking right now, the family of South Georgia teen found dead in a gym mat almost 10 years ago, speaking out against a recent ruling just yesterday that's closing the case. This is the father of Kendrick Johnson. This is Kenneth Johnson. Let's listen in.
The findings what happened to Willie Jane Williams. The same thing that this sheriff department will do again and again if the people do not stand up and fight for what is right and make them do what's right. This is the sheriff department known to cover up. Known to cover up things. When you had Willie Jane Williams laying inside this jailhouse, dying. And this same sheriff allegedly covered up what happened to Willie Jane Williams and the same thing that he come back and trying to do now. Sheriff Eazzy Pope, you didn't have anything to do with it as you say. But the lies you put on this paper made you just a part of the cover-up and the conspiracy of what's going on in my son's case. And I will fight as long as I have to uncover what exactly happened to Kendrick Johnson. People, do not take my word for it. Do your research.
So where do you guys go from here? What's your next step?
We keep pushing. We have students was at that schoolhouse that year. They are reaching out to us. And that I want to say to the students. he have in the end. If you have any information, contact the sheriff department. I say to the students, do not go in alone. Do not go in from an attorney around here in Lowndes County. Record everything you say to these people so they won't try to turn it around and make you out of a liar. Send it to the Justice Department.
And this is Kenneth Johnson, the father of Kendrick Johnson, who was found it's been almost a decade now, found rolled up in a gym mat in Lowndes County High School. Yesterday, the sheriff there saying that there was no foul play suspected in this case after going through 17 boxes of evidence in this case. We're going to continue to follow the story for you and have more on CBS 46 News beginning at 3, and we'll also have it on our free streaming app.
I think he's wrong on one point. If you have anything, don't go to that sheriff's office, because it's clear that they're covering everything up. And it ain't them. It don't end with them. It's the damn DOJ. It's the FBI. And you know who I'm calling on? The person that I voted for. President Joe Biden. I am asking you, sir, Mr. President, to please do something about this. Speak on it or something. This is wrong. President Barack Obama didn't do anything about it. So I'm asking you, sir, say something about it. Get an investigation going on at the FBI. Something. But I am begging. I'm tired. This happened in 2013. 2013. This shit is still going on. People getting killed like Emmett Till, like Mary Turner. The list can go down. And down and down and down. And this happened in 2013. If nobody says anything about this of high power, these niggas gonna come after me. And I'm going to tell you guys something. If I ended up dying or getting killed, trust me, I'm not crazy. I'm not somebody who is suicidal. I'm not somebody who is aggressive when it comes down with people with guns. I'm a very intelligent person, and under pressure, I'm very smart. I do not make bold moves that would get me in harm's way. I also don't want them coming knocking down my door because I'm reporting shit that you can easily find on the internet. I'm begging somebody of high power to put something in motion for this to not get closed out, because clearly that sheriff department is not able to handle credible information when it comes down to Kendrick Johnson, a young boy at the age of 17 who lost his damn life. He lost his life. Shit was planted. The whole crime scene was botched. He lost his life. Can somebody do something about this? Can the community get justice for this kid's life? Why is it so quiet now? A year ago, they reopened it just for them to say it was an accident? Oh, because you found out that Rick Bell was nothing to fuck with. I don't know nothing about Rick Bell. I'm just an upstanding citizen who votes and does and follows the law, pay my taxes properly, and I'm an American patriot. That's who I am. I am an American patriot. Democrat, to be exact. Call me whatever you want to call me, but I was born here. I'm proud. But I'm not proud of the black racism that is here. That is still here, to where they can kill one of us and get away with it. If I ever get pulled over and get arrested for anything, don't treat me like Sandra Bland because I'm on YouTube talking about this shit. You won't find me killing myself. You won't find me doing anything. So if anything ever happened to me or my family, just know, it's something to it. It's something to it. I was in fear of doing this show because of the potential harm that I could put myself and my family in for going after these people. In the name of this gentleman, a young boy who lost his life. And it wasn't by no damn accident. And if it was, why in the hell was his organs missing?
What happened to this teenage boy walking through this school gym? He's captured here on surveillance camera, then disappears until...
Come to Lowndes High School now. There's a dead body out here.
17-year-old Kendrick Johnson was found upside down in a rolled gym mat last January. Investigators say he was reaching for a shoe, got stuck, and died.
We have found nothing to indicate this was anything other than just a tragic accident.
You could tell he was beaten.
Kendrick's parents believe the story about the shoe is a cover-up, and they question why sheriff's investigators either did not collect or test potential evidence from the scene.
Got some questions about the Kendrick Johnson case.
I'm not going to discuss that with you.
Why not, sir?
Because our case is closed.
Kendrick's body was exhumed. His parents paid for an independent autopsy, and the pathologist found evidence of apparent non-accidental blunt force trauma to the neck. But it's also what the pathologist did not find that shocked the family.
Organs, the heart, lungs, liver, etc., were not with the body.
What was in the place of the organs?
Newspaper.
After months of protests and demands for answers, an announcement by the U.S. Department of Justice.
I am of the opinion that a sufficient basis exists for my office to conduct a formal review of the facts and investigation surrounding the death of Kendrick Johnson.
No matter who you are, how much money your parents have, the color of your skin, everyone deserves justice. Everyone.
Well, Victor Blackwell joins me now from Atlanta. So Kendrick Johnson's family exhumed their son's body, trying to get some answers about his death, only learned his organs were missing. I don't understand how the state investigation doesn't offer any explanations. I mean, somebody removed this young man's organs. Somebody's lying.
Well, they said that there was an investigation. You'll remember that we reported on this show back in early October that when Kendrick Johnson's body was exhumed for that second autopsy, his organs were not with the body, and that started this investigation 3 months ago. And I want to remind people which each side says. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation, which did the first autopsy, says they put the organs back into Kendrick Johnson's body, closed the body, sent it to Harrington Funeral Home. The funeral home says the organs never came with the body, but they take it a step further. The funeral home says that GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, discarded the organs because they were destroyed through some natural process that Harrington still has not explained. But late today, we now have a copy of this letter that was sent to the Johnsons. It's from the Funeral Services Board. Only CNN has it. And I want to read just the line in the conclusion here. The board has exhausted all available investigative avenues at its disposal, and no determination could be made whether the organs were transferred to the funeral establishment with the body. There was this 3-month investigation, which by law is secret and behind closed doors. They just, at the end of the investigation, come out with what the decision is, and in this case, no action.
Well, I mean, the body was also stuffed with newspaper. So, I mean, again, somebody's lying. Either somebody who did the original autopsy didn't include the organs in the body, or someone at the funeral home did something with the organs and stuffed it with newspaper. I mean, somebody's not telling the truth.
Well, the funeral home here has never denied stuffing the body with newspaper, although we spoke with leaders of the industry at Mortuary Sciences, and they say either it's something they've never heard of or it's something that's not in line with standard practices. Now, the manager and the owner of Harrington Funeral Home, Antonio Harrington, would not speak with us on camera, but he allowed his attorney, Roy Copeland, to speak with us. And in the defense of the funeral home stuffing the cavity with newspaper, he cited a 25-year-old guide for embalming in which it suggests that when the organs are absent, you use sawdust or cotton. Now, that's a 25-year-old version. A more recent version got rid of sawdust. But here's my exchange in the months since this has come to light with that attorney, Roy Copeland. Watch.
I'm told we don't have that exchange. So
let me tell you what he said, though, because I have it here. Again, the book says either cotton or sawdust, and I highlight that newspaper is not one of them. He says it's absolutely not one of them, nor is it precluded as one type of foreign substance that may be introduced into a body for purposes of building up for display. Essentially, it doesn't say we can't use newspaper. And that's what the state says. It's not best practices, but it's not a violation. Again, with the newspaper, no action from the state.
So again,
tell me that don't sound fishy to you. So it's either the goddamn funeral home is in on it, which it seems like they're disputing it, or the person who did the original autopsy did what they were supposed to do, which was fishy in itself, saying that he died from asphyxiation when the second person who did an autopsy said that he died from blunt force trauma. Also, let's see how fishy it is for the school missing frames. Mind you, I'm not claiming none of this. I'm not trying to make money off of any of these videos. So I'm showing these full videos knowing that it's going to get a copyright strike. Hopefully you guys do not give me knowing that it's going to get a copyright warning. Hopefully you guys don't give me a strike. And hopefully I am able to display this to the world so everybody can see. We done broke down details. I got some more revealing information that we got to show. But let's check out the missing tapes as far as missing frames conveniently when KJ was walking into the gym.
One hour of our exclusive investigation into the death of Kendrick Johnson. Specifically, what school surveillance video can tell us about how he died and what's missing from it. Again, here's Victor Blackwell.
CNN has hired Grant Fredericks and his team at Forensic Video Solutions to analyze the hundreds of hours of surveillance from Lowndes High School. Although he does not believe the jumpy video is the result of editing, he says there are some other major problems.
Those files are not original files. They're not something that an investigator should rely on for the truth of the video. They've been altered in a number of ways, primarily in image quality, and likely in dropped information loss. There are also a number of files that are corrupted because they've not been processed correctly and they're not playable. So I can't say why they were done that way, but they were not done correctly and they were not done thoroughly. So we're missing information.
Fredericks says that's likely due to how investigators acquired the surveillance video.
Right now, what they've done is they have left it up to the school district to define what it is they want to provide the police. And I think that probably is a mistake.
According to Lowndes County Sheriff's Office incident reports, a detective watched a portion of the surveillance video the day Kendrick Johnson was found. Then he asked the school board's information technology worker for a copy of the surveillance video for the entire wing of the school with the old gym for the last 48 hours. 5 days later, that IT worker provided a hard drive, and according to the incident report, the detective verified it contained the requested surveillance video.
So the investigator's responsibility is to acquire the entire digital video recording system, and then who might be party to the responsibility to make the decision as to what they provide the police.
And after hours of analysis, Fredericks questions whether Lowndes County Schools provided all of the surveillance video from the old gym to investigators.
There is a whole of time where none of the cameras provide any record that I've been provided.
Fredericks has all the camera angles and all the video released by the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office.
There are 4 cameras in the gym that records motion from when the lights turn on in the morning until when the lights are turned off at night, except for the area of interest.
The moments before Kendrick Johnson enters the gym. Look at what happens to the recordings from these 4 cameras in the gym. The time is recorded with the video. The first camera captures images from the start of the day until 12:04 p.m. Then, nothing. It picks up again at 1:09 p.m. There's consistent surveillance from the second camera until 11:05 a.m. Then it stops and picks up again more than 2 hours later at 1:15 p.m. The third camera also drops at 11:05 a.m. It picks up again at 1:16 p.m. And from the final camera, there's surveillance until 12:04 p.m., no recording for more than an hour, then it picks up again at 1:09 p.m.
I would absolutely expect there to be some record of that activity, and we don't have any here.
Here's why Fredericks would have expected the motion-activated system to record during that time. During that hour and 5 minutes, several students are seen walking into and out of the old gym from the surveillance camera just outside the gym door. We count 7 male students, and 3 of them walk into the gym within 3 minutes prior to Kendrick Johnson walking in.
I can't tell you whether there was no information recorded in the digital video system, or whether somebody made an error and didn't capture it, or whether somebody just didn't provide it.
When surveillance in the gym resumes at 1:09, we see just these few frames of Kendrick Johnson running in the gym. Here's that moment from all of the cameras in the gym, although there's a record from only 2, and the camera just outside the door. Notice, the hall camera timestamp appears to be 10 minutes behind, and there's no confirmation either time matches the exact time of day. It is the last time his image is captured on video. For the next hour, there are multiple gaps in the video surveillance in the gym.
And that is crucial. It's a really important time.
Well, it really is the only option to answer the question, really what happened.
And there's no video showing the initial discovery of a body in the gym. The next time we see Kendrick Johnson is the following day when he's being wheeled out of the gym in a body bag.
Do you believe it's a coincidence that that time period in the gym is missing?
Oh boy. Investigators are always suspicious and should be suspicious. And it's suspicious that that time period is not there. So yes, I would be suspicious. And until I have the digital video system in my hand, until I can say, or an investigator can say, everything is intact, this was what's recorded, I would still be highly suspicious of this.
So after fighting for months on a city street corner and in the county courthouse to get the surveillance video, Kendrick Johnson's parents still do not know who was in the gym before Kendrick ran in, nor who, if anyone, was there or what happened in those moments after.
Victor Blackwell joins us now. So what's the school district and the sheriff's department saying?
Well, Anderson, we sent a long list of questions to both an attorney for the sheriff's office and an attorney for the Lowndes County School District. Well, we have not received an answer to our questions from the attorney for the sheriff's office, but we have received a response from the attorney for the school district. No comment. Although that attorney has said that he will make the original hard drive available to the court. And of course, the Johnsons want to make sure that all the information from the school's hard drive was then given to the sheriff's office, which they hope eventually was all passed on to them. And of course, we'll find that out. Wow. Anderson?
Terrible. Terrible. Let's go on the missing video, or there is some, as far as audio, of a confession. Let's check this out. If I can get this going here.
Developing at 5:30, the family of a South Georgia teenager found dead rolled up in a gym mat continues to demand justice.
Kendrick Johnson's family says new recordings, including a possible confession, could be key to finding out who killed the teenager. CBS 46's Tori Cooper has the story.
Yeah, Kendrick Johnson's mother says after 8 long years, her son's cold case is finally heating up now that she has this new audio recording in her hands. But she says now that she's turned over this new piece of evidence to investigators, it's up to them to track down her son's killer. Jacqueline Johnson still wants to see her son's killer behind bars.
And my son lost his life, but for what?
And now Johnson and her family say a new audio recording might hold the key to justice for 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson, whose body was discovered rolled up in a gym mat in 2013 at Lowndes High School, according to investigators.
We have authenticated on our end a 25-second audio clip of what I can say right now is what appears to be a Caucasian male admitting to killing Kendrick Johnson.
Wednesday, Johnson and family turned over the tape to Lowndes County Sheriff's Office. Family says they believe the tape is real and that the killer himself confessed these words in the audio recording.
They're gonna catch me anyways. I should have never done this. I was young and stupid. Kendrick didn't deserve this, man.
Johnson says this new audio recording was captured in secret last weekend and sold to the family for $1,000 by someone they say is an alleged family member. The family and investigators have not released the audio tape now that the cold case has been reopened. The U.S. Attorney's Office also turned over dozens of boxes to Lowndes County Sheriff Ashley Polk, who says authenticating and identifying who the voice belongs to is possible.
Even bad people have consciences.
He says he's hopeful that this is not a heinous joke on the family and Kendrick's mother, who is just trying to uphold her son's honor.
Never let nobody stop you from fighting for your child because your child matters.
Now, the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office says it could take up to 6 months to track down the person in the audio recording, as well as the person who provided the recording to the family. We will, of course, continue to follow all of the developments within this case and bring you the very latest here and on our website at CBS46.com. In Fulton County for CBS 46 News, I'm Tori Cooper.
The news is covering this. Now, let's move to the Finding Kendrick Johnson's evidence that they found on this case, as far as a white male that could potentially be his killer.
One thing we kept hearing over and over again was about this missing FBI report regarding the security tape hard drive and the blacked out footage. So we looked into finding that report to see if we could locate it. And we did. However, the report was heavily redacted. But then we were able to find the unredacted FBI report, and what we discovered blew us away. You see, in the redacted report, you can barely see any of the video frames. Most of the frames are blacked out, and the ones with KJ are barely recognizable. In the unredacted report, we were able to see all the video frames in full color. The report follows KJ, Brian, and Brandon's movement throughout the school for the entire day and records where they were. Not only is this further video evidence that the Bell Boys were on campus when KJ went missing, we found something that the FBI clearly didn't want us to see. Let us put them side by side so you can see what we found. Here they are. Can you see something a little odd? Look closely. There appears to be a frame on both pages that matches. How could this be? What tipped us off is KJ's yellow folder. We were going through Brian's movements and all of a sudden, KJ's folder appeared on screen. That's right. There's a frame on KJ's side and Brian's side that is identical. The boys are standing seemingly right next to each other in the hallway.
Did you see Kendrick that day?
No. I did not.
Seeing the alleged killer of KJ standing next to him in the hallway the day he died in school has sent chills down our spines. How did no one see this frame? How did the FBI let this go? Why did it take 6 years and an independent filmmaker to find this? These are all questions that may never go answered. But what we do know for sure is that we have more facts now than we ever had, and this case needs to be reopened and re-examined with a fine.
I don't like showing KJ's body. Because that sends chills down my spine. I could sit and look at Emmett Till's photo, but Kendrick, I cannot. And in that documentary left me crying with a face full of tears, knowing that my son could potentially face the same fate. But this right here is evidence that they are lying. Brian Bell was lying. I am going to go into a video now showing an email confession where they're going to cover one of Brian Bell's friends admitting to what happened, and then ending with a now and then the KJK story. We're almost done here. Let's move into the email confessions.
Kendrick Johnson was found dead in a rolled-up gym mat at his high school. Originally ruled accidental. The parents are very upset. They believe that their son was murdered. So now feds took over the investigation. But now the latest development we're getting is that there was an email tip sent to the sheriff's office saying and implicating certain individuals. The sheriff's office, which ruled this an accident, now following up on that the next day, issuing subpoenas. And it seems like this investigation moving forward. Joey Jackson, Mike Brooks with me, and Jane Velez-Mitchell, host of Jane Velez-Mitchell, joins us now. Jane, it seems from where I'm sitting, this is a big development in trying to get to the bottom of what happened here.
Absolutely, Vinny. And I think it's great that with alacrity, investigators interviewed two of the four individuals named in this anonymous email tip. I'd like to see them go further. First of all, I'd like to know, where were they at the time of Kendrick Johnson's death? So that's number one. Also, if you're looking at the poor individual, the victim there in the rolled up gym mat, there's clothing, there's a lot of material around there. What about their DNA, their fingerprints? Is there any matchup between those two? So I think that there's a lot of work still to be done. I'm also curious. I heard the report that 100 people were interviewed in the wake of this, and I want to know, were those two individuals or the four individuals named in the anonymous tip amongst those 100 individuals originally interviewed? And of course, the biggest question, who sent the anonymous tip? Is this person possibly the one who's actually involved and wants to throw police off as we get closer to a possible resolution, with the feds getting involved and a grand jury convening to hear this? Is this possibly an effort to send them in the wrong direction? So it really compounds the mystery, but there's a lot to work with here.
Well, Jane, Victor Blackwell said that the four names have come up in the investigation before. So we don't know if they are possibly part of the 100 who were interviewed, and they are trying to find out the origin and who sent this. So, you know, they've interviewed two. They didn't interview the other two. Could this also be an investigative ploy? Could this be, talk to two of them, and maybe there might be some talk between the others? And I don't think that they're ignoring the other two totally.
Something needs to happen. So, let's go into a friend of Brian Bell going to a Florida state declaring this information. So, state of Florida, County of Columbia. This is a declaration of Ryan Anthony Hernandez, who makes this declaration under penalty of perjury and pursuit, hereby states the following. Number one, my name is Ryan Anthony Hernandez, and I am over 21 years of age. I'm giving this declaration voluntarily, and I have personal knowledge of the facts stated here and know them to be true. Number two, I met Brian Bell in April of 2016, and on one occasion was with him at his apartment in Jacksonville, Florida. That's, I guess, where he decided to go, when he told me that his younger brother killed Kendrick Johnson. Brandon Bell is the brother of Brian Bell. According to Brandon Bell, Brian Bell, Ryan Hall, and Kendrick Johnson were in the gym when an argument between Brian and Kendrick began. The argument was about and over Brian's girlfriend. Number 4, according to Brandon Bell, Brian was taking steroids at the time and out of roid rage, or the effect of steroids. He struck Kendrick in the neck with a 45-pound weight or dumbbell. Brandon Bell stated that Brian aforementioned blow may have broken Kendrick Johnson's neck. Number 5, according to Brendan Johnson, Ryan Hall was a witness to the fight, and Brian Bell told Ryan Hall that if he didn't keep quiet and help Kendrick or move Kendrick's body, his father, now retired FBI agent Rick Bell, would make sure Ryan Hall would pay for it. Number 6, Brandon Bell also told me that his father got in touch with Sheriff Chris Prime, after being notified of the fight and Kendrick's death. Number 7, and you guys are not seeing this part of the confession here. All right, number 7, Brendan also told me that Chris Prime got in touch with the county coroner. Number 8, Brendan Bell also told me that his father got in touch with another FBI agent who some way infiltrated the editing of the high school surveillance video by corrupting or deleting 1 hour and 25 minutes of the original recording. Brendan Bell also told me that Kendrick Johnson's death and that his organs were removed and newspapers placed in the cavities so as to interfere with any efforts to establish the correct time of death or otherwise disclose any other injuries. Brendan Bell also told me that the autopsy was falsely documented. Number 10, I'm giving this declaration in support of the plaintiff's notion to withdraw admissions and the plaintiff's opposition to defendants' motions for attorney fees, expenses. Okay, all this shit. This was dated in August 2017. This is the brother of Brian Bell that supposedly got his ass up out of there, or that supposedly killed Kendrick Johnson. Now, let's finish with the Kendrick Johnson's case now and then. Once again, I do not own any rights. I'm going to try to show this whole video, but I gain nothing from this video besides sharing the truth. It's a good minute, so it's a good little video, so sit tight, and I'll give the closing ends of this video.
Well, Anderson, the Johnsons were hoping that this video would give them some answers. There was even the hashtag on Twitter, "Give us the tapes." But it appears that this video is only providing more questions and very few answers. We've got a couple of clips from these hours of video we've watched. Let's look at the first one, and it shows Kendrick walking in from the right side of your screen there. He's behind another student, and as soon as he runs out, you see that student disappears, and a couple of other students appear. It's from one image to the next with no explanation of how those students got to that position or where the student at that red shirt went. Now, we blurred their faces because they're minors in this video and the next. Let's go to the next one. You can see Kendrick at the bottom right of the screen. He's walking at first, and then he runs out of the frame, and just like the first video, other students just appear. No explanation of how they got to that point. You don't see them walk in. We've not edited these videos to just kind of put one image next to the other. This is how we receive them from the sheriff's office today.
In 2013, 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson was discovered upside down in an upright wrestling gym mat in the Lowndes High School in Georgia. A team of medical examiners was the first to arrive on the scene. finding blood on the walls, floor, and some not related to Kendrick. The student supposedly hid a pair of sneakers under the upright gym mat, then attempted to retrieve the sneaker, but from climbing on top rather than moving the mat over. His death was pronounced accidental due to positional asphyxiation. Positional asphyxiation or postural asphyxiation occurs when the position that you're in prevents you from breathing efficiently. In January 2013, Kendrick was laid to rest. 5 months later, however, Kendrick's body would be exhumed for a second autopsy, and what they found was quite shocking. The teen was found with blows to the right side of the neck, consistent with inflicted injury. Not only that, Kendrick's organs was missing.
An autopsy report obtained exclusively by CNN is fueling calls for a new investigation into the death of a Georgia teenager, Kendrick Johnson, last January. Authorities at the time ruled it an accident, but to Kendrick's parents, that never made sense for a number of reasons, starting with the fact that Kendrick's body was found inside a rolled-up wrestling mat in his high school gym. Now, a second independent autopsy paid for by Kendrick's parents says his death was not an accident at all. Victor Blackwell has been following the story for months, and we want to warn you, in his report there is a photo of Kendrick taken after his death, and it may be disturbing to some viewers. Here's Victor's report.
In June, at his parents' request, Kendrick's body was exhumed and taken to Florida for a second independent autopsy. This time, the findings were dramatically different. The report, obtained exclusively by CNN, cites the cause of death as unexplained, apparent, non-accidental blunt force trauma, blows to the neck, not an accident. Despite the new report, the state and local authorities stand behind their findings. Supporters for Kendrick's family are calling for a Department of Justice investigation, and Kenneth Johnson says he will not stop until he finds the person who killed his son.
No matter who you are, how much money your parents have, the color of your skin, everyone deserves justice. Everyone.
Now, a Channel 2 Action News investigation into the mystery surrounding the death of a Valdosta teenager found in an upright gym mat at school. Two young men at the focus of the Kendrick Johnson controversy have declined to talk to investigators, a grand jury, and an on-camera interview until now. Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie live outside FBI headquarters in DeKalb County with these exclusive interviews. Mark?
And at last check, this case remained a focus of federal investigation. But we are outside the FBI's Atlanta field office because that is where we're told Agent Rick Bell was assigned, and both his sons are the subject of target letters from a federal prosecutor. And now we hear from them at last.
I'm going to ask my photographer to push in tight on your face.
Okay.
Our viewers can read your expression.
Brian and Brandon Bell was in the center of attention due to rumors going around the school. Kendrick was supposedly talking to a girl one of the brothers was also talking to. Although this case is still cold, this is a crucial piece of evidence.
Did you have anything to do with the death of Kendrick Johnson?
No. He was like one of my good friends.
They say pictures can say
Good friends.
They say pictures can say 100 words. Well, a video should say much more. If this was your good friend, one would vocalize a lot more, being that you guys must have shared moments together. One would empathize more than a random stranger they knew nothing about.
Even at the time of his death?
Even at the time of his death.
You know, every word we broadcast of this is going to be scrutinized by the blogosphere, the Twitter sphere, and so on.
Yes, sir. It should be. And I want everybody to know the truth. And I mean, they can ridicule me and they can They can say whatever they want, but in the end, the truth will prevail, and everybody will find that me and my brother have been innocent and always will be innocent.
More confident, postural, ready to refute the allegations further, and locked eye contact. All the signs of an innocent person.
We've just heard what family attorneys acknowledge sheriff's deputies, the GBI, and a federal grand jury have not heard. Brothers Brian and Brandon Bell answering questions, no holds barred, about the mysterious death of Kendrick Johnson in 2013.
He was the laughter of our house. He was the joy of our house, and he gives us strength to keep fighting.
The Lowndes County Sheriff says after a thorough investigation, his office agrees with the state medical examiner that Johnson's death was an accident due to positional asphyxia, that he wedged himself in a rolled-up gym mat trying to reach a shoe and could not get out. But Kendrick Johnson's mom takes issue with that.
Are you more convinced today than ever that KJ was the victim of foul play?
Yes.
And with some of what the Bells say.
No, they weren't friends.
And in a lawsuit, Johnson's parents allege a group, including the Bell brothers, sons of an FBI agent, violently assaulted their son, leading to his death.
None of the allegations that were made were without research.
But both Bells maintain they have rock-solid alibis.
Did you see Kendrick Johnson?
No, sir, not at any point during that day.
Where were you?
I was in class. First block, second block, third block, and fourth block.
Close to the gym?
Watch closely how Brian Bell answers the next following question.
No.
Did you see Kendrick that day?
No. I did not.
You can tell Brian is lying. Brian drops eye contact multiple times, most likely in an attempt to avoid pressure. Brian seems confident in where he was, but not confident in whether he saw Kendrick that day.
I was in class, first block, second block, third block, and fourth block.
Did you see Kendrick that day?
No. I did not.
The suit suggests the brothers sought revenge for a brief fight between Brian and Kendrick on a team bus.
A year before, I mean,
what was
we're
that
still
about,
friends.
anyway?
So I can't even remember. I mean, it was so small to us, like it was ridiculous.
Despite all the evidence that
You heard that. You heard that. Well, guys, I've showed all that I need to show. This is a sad case. And somebody with power, a voice and a stage need to do something about this. So with that being said, President Biden, jump on it, but this family needs justice. And if it was my son, I would already be in jail for killing somebody for not doing what they're supposed to do about my child. And these family members of this kid are staying strong. Let's get them justice. I'm Eric Lloyd. This is episode 13. And something needs to happen. I'm out.
I'm so obsessed with the quest that it is so absurd. I hope I don't end up in the back of a hearse. I'm focused on my time that I had left on earth. I hope my mama never had to put me in the dirt. I'm contemplating getting a cup.